This is how life changes victims of covert narcissistic abuse will happen. Hey there, lovely viewers. Welcome back to our channel. Today, I'm diving into a topic that hits close to home for many, the personality that victims of narcissistic abuse often develop. Now, I'm not talking about your true personality. I'm delving into the persona that emerges as a result of the trauma inflicted by narcissistic individuals, whether it stems from childhood trauma or a toxic relationship. It's fascinating how we all seem to develop similar traits in response to this abuse. So, in today's video, I'll be unpacking what happens, how it happens, and most importantly, what you can do to reclaim your authentic self. Stick around until the end, because I'll be sharing some valuable tips that could help you on your journey to healing. If any of this resonates with you, you won't want to miss it. So, without further ado, let's dive into the imprint that narcissistic abuse leaves on our personalities and explore how we can break free from its grip. Let's get started. The dynamics of narcissistic abuse, particularly with covert narcissists where manipulation is subtle and bewildering, prompt us to engage different regions of our brain than usual, instead of relying on our prefrontal cortex, the seat of rational thought and executive function. We find ourselves predominantly utilizing our midbrain. Under normal circumstances, the midbrain serves as a crucial component of brain function, activated primarily in response to life-threatening situations. However, narcissistic abuse triggers this area incessantly, leading to a perpetual state of hypervigilance, often described as walking on eggshells. This heightened alertness keeps us constantly attuned to potential danger, shifting our focus away from rational thought towards survival instincts. Consequently, our personality undergoes significant alterations. Reflecting on my own experience, I've identified several changes that resonate deeply. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below or mention any additional alterations you've noticed. In the absence of our prefrontal cortex influence, we lose access to its defining attributes. When the executive command center is functioning optimally, we possess the ability to pause, reflect, forgive, and approach life with compassion and clarity. However, in its absence, our responses are dictated by stress-based narratives, perpetuating emotional turmoil and fear. This results in heightened emotional reactivity, persistent feelings of insecurity, impaired cognitive function, memory lapses, negative thought patterns, and intrusive rumination. The overarching sensation is one of perpetual apprehension, as if awaiting imminent danger, leading to a profound sense of unease and a departure from our authentic selves. Extended exposure to these conditions often leads to the manifestation of 5 primary symptoms characteristic of complex PTSD: self-abandonment, toxic shame, a relentless inner critic, social anxiety, and emotional flashbacks. Over time, these symptoms become deeply ingrained within us, shaping what feels like our new identity. We find ourselves oscillating between these 5 symptoms, unable to break free from their grip. Consider emotional flashbacks, for instance. As remnants of trauma persist within our bodies, we remain in a perpetual state of hypervigilance, hypersensitive to any triggers reminiscent of past trauma. Consequently, our reactions are often exaggerated, dictated by ingrained trauma responses, whether it be fighting, fleeing, freezing, or appeasing. We may find ourselves frequently lashing out in anger, incessantly engaging in activities to avoid confronting our emotions, constantly seeking validation from others, or feeling immobilized by a sense of helplessness. However, it's crucial to recognize that these responses are not inherent to our true selves. Rather, they are symptomatic of unresolved trauma. Just like a car with a malfunctioning gear shift, our responses may be stuck, but doesn't mean there's something inherently wrong with us as individuals. Beneath the layers of trauma lies our true essence, untouched and intact. While navigating the aftermath of narcissistic abuse may leave us feeling anything but fine, it's essential to remember that beneath the surface, our core remains resilient. Through introspection and healing, we can peel back the layers of trauma and reclaim our authentic selves, free from the shackles of past experiences and coping mechanisms developed as a result of trauma. Recovery, for me, wasn't about reinventing myself, because there was nothing inherently flawed with who I was. It was a journey of shedding the layers of trauma and dismantling the coping mechanisms that had obscured my true essence. It's about reclaiming authenticity. Whether you're currently entangled in a narcissistic relationship or have been out of one for years, if these issues remain unaddressed, they persist, embedding themselves in your personality. One common struggle is hypervigilance, where your nervous system is in a perpetual state of alertness, scanning for potential threats in every environment. This constant state of vigilance robs you of the simple pleasure of being present, leaving you in a perpetual state of apprehension. Feeling safe within your own body becomes a distant aspiration, overshadowed by an ever-present sense of impending doom. Emotional triggers become commonplace, and regulating your emotions feels like an insurmountable challenge. The aftermath of trauma responses, whether it's fighting, fleeing, freezing, or fawning, can linger for days, leaving you feeling detached from your true self. For some, this trauma-induced dissociation becomes a relentless reality, depriving them of the ability to fully inhabit their own bodies. Emotionally, the toll is palpable. The joy, excitement, passion, and creativity that once defined you are replaced by a pervasive sense of melancholy, anxiety, or vacillation between the two. Negative thought patterns become a constant companion, casting a shadow over every aspect of your life. Speaking from my own experience, it might sound bizarre to admit, but if you haven't walked this path, it's hard to fathom. For those who've endured narcissistic abuse, it's a different story. There were stretches of time where laughter was a distant memory for me, a sad reality considering I used to be the person who couldn't tell a joke without bursting into laughter before the punchline. It was a complete overhaul of my personality. Relearning how to laugh became a necessity after years of silence. Now, what do we do where we realize we've adopted the traits of someone who has suffered narcissistic abuse? It's a daunting question. We often seek a quick fix, a remedy to shed our trauma and reclaim our former selves overnight. However, I discovered the hard way that recovery isn't a sprint, but a marathon. The more I rushed, the slower my progress. Instead of trying to eradicate my trauma, I had to learn to support myself through it, acknowledging where my body was stuck and offering it the patience and care it needed. Trauma tends to embed itself in our bodies because the experiences overwhelm us too much too quickly and without any support. Trying to heal it using the same approach as the trauma occurred proves futile. We need a different strategy. It involves unlearning the negative beliefs ingrained in our minds and bodies as a result of narcissistic abuse. These beliefs now dictate our lives, but we must challenge and replace them with healthier ones. Merely wanting to change our beliefs with our conscious mind isn't enough. Our bodies, influenced by our subconscious, may resist. Aligning the two is key to overcoming narcissistic abuse. We can't rely solely on our intellect. It's a misconception many of us fall into, myself included. I once thought I could intellectualize my way out of it. However, as adults, we possess both a conscious and subconscious mind. Both must cooperate for true healing to occur. Our conscious mind governs our thoughts, while our subconscious governs our bodily responses. Bridging the gap between them is essential in the journey to recovery from narcissistic abuse. Rebuilding ourselves after narcissistic abuse parallels renovating a house. It's a process that demands time and patience. Picture a rundown home that you intend to flip. While the exterior may appear weathered, the core structure remains solid. Yet, to revitalize it, you must strip away the outdated components, old wiring, worn paneling, and replace them with new functional elements. Likewise, internally, we must undergo a similar transformation. We need to discard the outdated beliefs entrenched in our subconscious and adopt new, empowering ones. Just as you'd want your home security system to activate only when necessary, we aim to relegate our survival brain to its rightful role. Constantly operating in a state of hyper-alertness, akin to living with a blaring alarm non-stop, profoundly impacts our emotional well-being and overall peace of mind. So it's crucial to guide our survival brain to activate only when necessary. I understand it may seem like a daunting task, and indeed it is. Narcissistic abuse can wreak havoc on your cognitive function, emotional well-being, and physical health. Achieving lasting change requires effort and time, but it's essential to prioritize your healing journey. I urge you to give yourself the time and effort you deserve. Enduring narcissistic abuse is incredibly challenging, especially when it comes from those we expect to love and support us. However, remaining trapped in the aftermath, even after the narcissist is gone, is even more debilitating. Remember, the inner work is worth it because it leads to reclaiming your true self. If you found this message helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video. Your support helps spread awareness and empowers others on their healing journey. Also, check out the free book and information on one-on-one consultations available in the description. Take care of yourself and remember, you are worthy of healing and happiness.